Sneaker Gears, my name is Levi. Today we're bringing you another performance Gearz take on a surprise drop from Adidas, the Alphabounce. So the Alphabounce actually uses a surprising amount of tech, and we'll start from the bottom up. So the traction, as you can see, actually uses kind of an S pattern. It really forces you to run in the proper pattern as far as if you're heel striking, kind of the outside of the heel, as far as pushing off from your toe. Now I'm a midfoot striker, so the heel area didn't really bother me at all. But when you push off of the toe, because there's actually studs only in those areas, you do have almost a rocking sensation either going forward, or if you're not landing perfectly in the heel, it is going backwards. So if you're using these for running, it's not something that's fun. The majority of the people buying this shoe are buying it because, honestly, Adidas knocked it out of the park. Stylistically, this is a gorgeous shoe. Adidas killing it with another one. This initial colorway iron ore they made with scientific purposes, and we'll get into that soon. But for running purposes, if you do not have a very good stride, or if you're a heel striker, or if you need any amount of support pronation or overpronating, this is going to be a terrible shoe for you, and Adidas didn't make this to be a performer. If you are just standing around, the cushioning on this is really good for just standing, still very supportive as far as holding your arch up, and that rocking sensation honestly is just kind of fun. So if that's the case, you're good to go. Moving up to the cushioning, it uses Bounce. Bounce was first launched with the Energy Bounce last year. I did try those on and they were kind of comfortable, but I did really just try them on in the store, so not really much experience in it. From there, I actually used the Dame 2. The Dame 2 actually uses probably 30% more bounce, because it is a little bit more bouncy. It does have better impact protection, but the same thing if you did see my video on a really nice combination of responsiveness or court feel and impact protection, it really strikes a nice balance. Now, when used in the Alphabounce, because it uses a little bit less bounce, you don't have as much impact protection. You still have some of that energy return, but you do have more, I guess, ground feel or responsiveness. So there's something where it does kind of encourage you to go a little bit faster. Now, as far as the cushioning and where I rank it and where that comparison comes in, really it's okay. As far as performance runner, I would actually prefer quite a few other things above this, but this is still very good in the marketplace. So starting from the top down as far as cushioning, the Charged cushioning used from Under Armour actually does a little bit better job, where it doesn't give you any energy return, but it does have better impact protection. And if you are going to be using something to run faster, that kind of spring-loaded motion, especially in the Slingshot, does a great job, but you are talking about a $140 shoe versus $100. Now, something that's more similarly priced is going to be your Saucony EverRun cushioning, and for $100 they have their Saucony Kinvara. I actually did use those where I purchased from Roadrunner and had a couple of runs in them. Really nice, where you have some energy return, good impact protection, but I wanted something a little more cushioning just because I am 245. I ended up getting the Saucony Triumph ISO 2. So I can do a review on these. The cushioning on these is phenomenal. Again, you're talking about a $150 shoe at this point. The upper, again, they try to achieve that one-to-one fit in a very different fashion. So obviously the upper on the Adidas is far superior. But when it comes to the cushion, again, I would say the EverRun kind of marks tops as far as being a nice combination in its class of cushioning there in the market. I would say the Puma Ignite is a very similar to Bounce in its cushioning. If I would prefer maybe the Bounce, only because it has a better upper in the Alphabounce. A final comparison, and this is on the lower end of the spectrum, is actually your Reebok ZPrint. This retailed for $80. I was actually able to get it from $40 because the Reebok outlets have some really good deals. This just has, it's a surprising performer. It uses kind of a knit upper. You can kind of see there, even on the side, it's a very loose knit, but when you lock it down, again, doesn't have that same support or upper as the Adidas does, and we'll get into that in a second, but it has a lot better impact protection. Not much in the way of energy return, so that's where it is separate, but it just is a nice fluid ride. It uses kind of a tread similar to like a Nike Free, where it does move very well, and each individual piston kind of gives way, so it has a really nice traction pattern where you always feel secure no matter what surface you're running at. But this was a surprising performer, and again, even at full retail, $80 is still a better value, but we'll get into what makes the Adidas Alphabounce so special. So we talked about the traction, we talked about the cushion. Really the upper is what is so phenomenal on this thing. It actually uses a technology that NASA uses called ARAMIS. Now, ARAMIS is a motion capture system that actually determines the tension and strain on different materials. It's actually used by NASA to inspect its hulls on the space shuttles. So something that's very advanced, provides a lot of information. It uses a combination of high-speed cameras and flexion sensors to gather information at up to 500 frames per second. So this is high-tech stuff. So the software actually shows Adidas a map of the bone, skins, and muscles in a visualization of what is happening and the level of comfort or tension it's enacting on the athlete. So this is something that the Adidas actually invested a lot of money and research to give the best possible product as far as its upper. As you can imagine, the first time Adidas used this was actually on its Ultra Boost. The difference being the Ultra Boost is kind of its tier 1, where it uses its most sophisticated cushioning and boost. It uses the highest level upper as far as prime knit, and this is being used on a shoe that costs $100. Now, what's cool about it, its initial launch colorway, Iron Ore, was actually made with the same speckle pattern, or very similar, that what Adidas used in its motion capture tests. Now, on this colorway, it's tough to see, but you do have kind of a line on both sides where you see where the material is able to expand and contract, and the amount of support this provides is awesome. Also, if you notice the support, it really uses a tiny heel cup. It doesn't need much because all that support is being provided by the upper. I have heard rumors that they're going to be using this material, this fused mesh, on James Harden's shoe. Now, whether that's going to be using this material on a Crazy Light 2016, or whether he's going to be using his own shoe and this is going to be the upper, but the amount of love, the support this provides laterally and overall is the reason why it doesn't need that cage like Ultra Boost has. It also reminds me a lot of your Slingshot, in which this, again, for a running shoe, provides a lot of support that you really don't need, where I would love to see both of these materials in a basketball setting, just because for running it's almost overkill. Something like the Saucony Triumph I just showed you guys, it's a lot more loose fitting as far as nice grip containment, but it's meant for running. You're going forward, you want that flexibility, so it is a very nice upper, and that's really where your money's going. So the last thing is really sizing. I know a lot of you guys are buying this online because it is tough to try on. I don't know if a lot of stores are getting them in just yet. This is a size 12, and this thing runs very big. Just to give you an idea, this is a size 12 US, this is a size 12 US. You almost can't even tell that it's the same. I mean, there is a drastic difference, and I'll show you the heels. I'm trying to put the heels as even as I can, and this thing is big. I actually could have gone an 11, but as far as the width of my foot, getting that 12 was almost like getting my normal 13. And then even so, this is a 12 as well. I did a 12.5 in the Triumph, so I didn't want to compare those. So if we line this up at the heel, let's look at the top. It runs big. I would easily recommend going about a half size down if you have a normal foot. For some people, even a full size down. Because of the width of my foot, I did go with my traditional 12, but that being said, they do run very big. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Now, I did do a quick 1 mile jog in these things. I did another 2.2 mile run, and then finally I did a 5K. And if you guys who don't believe me, I did clean these up, obviously, for video purposes, but you can kind of see that nastiness. If you are a mid-foot striker, one thing that I didn't like is the outsides on both here do start to wear out, where this outsole is almost inset, meaning when you press down, you are going to start scraping some of the edges of the midsole. So all of this is painted. You are going to have some wear and tear in that. Also, if you are using this for performance purposes, for my hard-earned money, I probably would return them. But what I really like about it is the way they designed that upper, and because it has to do with kind of the motion capture points, and when you see this from far away, it kind of molds together. It almost looks like a gray versus the black and white. I will be keeping it for what most people are going to be buying this for. It looks amazing. Now I will be running these sometimes just because it is really nice upper, and I want to get my money's worth out of these shoes. But honestly, for performance purposes, it is a little bit of a letdown with how much engineering they put in because of, one, the traction and how it's shaped, and two, the cushion. As far as we've seen Bounce being used a lot better on their basketball terms. That new basketball 365 coming out from Adidas is using a very similar setup to this. Now in the basketball court, because of that responsiveness, even though it does have a little bit less impact protection, I think for a guard setup it would work much better than it would running. Running outside in Chicago, so we have asphalt, we have concrete. So this would be a little bit different maybe if you're running in a field or trail running, as far as a nice path that is going to give you a little bit more impact protection, or even a track is a lot of cushion on top of what this would offer. So for my purposes, for where I'm running around in my neighborhood, pretty similar to Avondale or Portage Park for you guys in Chicago. It's a lot of concrete, asphalt, not the best runner. I have a lot of other shoes that just perform much better, but stylistically, it's a home run. Adidas knocked it out of the park again. If you are watching this video, hopefully this helps you out. Adidas is doing a lot of restocks. In the last 3 days, I think I've seen 4 different restocks from different places, even Adidas, so it is something that you should be able to get. Do not pay over retail on these. I believe Eastbay is already having a discount on these. We are able to get them for $85. And again, really great price sneaker, really good shoe for overall if you are going to use for running or casual, versus something like the NMD is really more for casual and standing around, and something like the Ultra Boost at double the price is a hardcore runner. And if you are using it casually, it's really just a lot of money for something like that, where this is just a home run and a big step up over, I think, any of their tubular line, which again you only can use for standing and walking around. They're really not that comfortable. So really appreciate you guys. If you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comments. I do try to answer everybody. Please check us out on Instagram and as well as Twitter. I do try to post things there first so you guys can get a quick snap of what I've been doing every day for training. I am checking, doing a performance review on the KD9 as those have dropped. I was able to get my hands on the preheat version. Good stuff. First 45 minutes in that shoe was really painful as far as the break-in period, but look forward to that coming out soon. This is Levi with Sneaker Gearz. We appreciate you guys, and we'll come at you later.